Imagine this. A single construction project in one of Africa's most challenged nations ends up creating over 20,000 jobs, sparking hope, pride, and unity in a place that desperately needed it. Sounds unbelievable, right? But this isn't fiction. This is the story of Captain Ibrahim Traore, the revolutionary leader of Burkina Faso, who turned a stadium into more than just a sports arena. It became a symbol of economic revival, youth empowerment, and national identity. Today, we're going deep into how one bold decision, building a national stadium, turned into a chain reaction that changed thousands of lives, and why it might be one of the most underrated development strategies in Africa right now. So buckle up, because this is not just about football, not just about concrete and steel. It's about vision, leadership, and how a single project can light up a nation. Who is Ibrahim Traore? Before we dive into the stadium project itself, let's set the stage. Ibrahim Traore is no ordinary leader. Born in 1988, he's the world's youngest head of state right now, rising to power in September 2022 after a military coup in Burkina Faso. The country has been plagued by terrorist attacks, poverty, and political instability for years. Most leaders promised change, but few delivered. When Traore stepped in, people didn't just see a soldier, they saw someone young, relatable, and deeply connected to the struggles of ordinary Burkinabés. Unlike many leaders who chase luxury and external validation, Traore quickly earned a reputation for living modestly, working relentlessly, and focusing on self-reliance. Now here's where it gets interesting. Instead of starting with complex foreign policies or massive theoretical reforms, Traore turned his focus to something tangible, something people could see, touch, and benefit from almost immediately: a national stadium project. Why a stadium? At first glance, some critics asked, why a stadium? Don't people need schools, hospitals, and roads more? But here's the genius behind it. Stadiums are more than sports venues. They're economic engines, cultural centers, and sources of national pride. In Africa, football is not just a game. It's a language, a unifying force that transcends ethnic and political divisions. Building a stadium meant creating instant jobs, not just for engineers, but for masons, carpenters, electricians, welders, transporters, cooks, cleaners, and vendors. Think about it. Every brick laid, every seat installed, every pipe connected requires hands. And those hands? They belong to ordinary people, people who suddenly had a paycheck where there was none. So while a hospital saves lives and a school builds minds, a stadium builds economy, morale, and unity, all at once. The jobs revolution. Now let's talk numbers. The stadium project directly and indirectly created over 20,000 jobs. Here's how. Construction labor. Thousands of young men and women were employed as builders, helpers, and skilled workers. Material supply chains. Local suppliers of cement, steel, wood, and paint suddenly had contracts worth millions. Transport industry. Truck drivers, loaders, and fuel suppliers thrived by moving materials back and forth. Food and services. Every construction site needs food. Street vendors, small restaurants, and caterers fed workers daily. Post-construction opportunities. Once completed, the stadium itself creates permanent jobs: security staff, maintenance teams, ticket sellers, event managers, and more. Secondary economy. Hotels, transport, and shops around the stadium benefit during matches and events. This wasn't just about a paycheck. It was about dignity. For thousands of Burkinabés, it was the first time in years they felt like active contributors to their nation's growth. The symbolism of the project. Let's step back for a second. Burkina Faso has faced years of negative headlines: terrorism, poverty, instability. The world often paints it as a forgotten country. But suddenly, this stadium project flips the narrative. It's not just concrete and steel, it's a symbol of self-reliance, built mostly with local hands and local resources, funded in a way that didn't completely rely on foreign debt. Positioned as a hub for African sports and culture, not just Burkinabé pride. When people walked past the construction site, they didn't just see scaffolding, they saw hope rising. This is what visionary leadership looks like, taking something simple and turning it into a movement. Lessons for Africa and the world. What makes this story powerful is that it's not just about Burkina Faso, it's a blueprint for other nations. Here are the takeaways. Mass employment can come from simple, visible projects. You don't always need billion-dollar tech startups. Sometimes it's construction, agriculture, or infrastructure. Youth engagement matters. Instead of young people feeling useless, the project gave them work and purpose. National pride is priceless. When citizens feel proud of something built by their own hands, unity strengthens. Look at history. In the US, massive infrastructure projects during the Great Depression, like dams and highways, put millions back to work. In China, sports stadiums and mega projects fueled both economy and global image. In South Africa, the 2010 FIFA World Cup transformed Johannesburg and Cape Town economies for years. Traore's stadium is Burkina Faso's version of that transformation. Criticisms and challenges. Of course, no story is without challenges. Some critics argued, the money could have gone to hospitals and schools. The jobs are temporary and may vanish after construction. Corruption risks exist in such big projects. But here's the counter-argument. Short-term jobs are still better than no jobs. The stadium will create long-term economic ripple effects through tourism, sports, and events. With transparent oversight, corruption risks can be managed. And let's be real, people need hope now, not just promises for 10 years later. The project gave exactly that. The ripple effect beyond jobs. What makes the stadium project even more fascinating is the ripple effect it unleashed far beyond construction. Once the project gained momentum, local entrepreneurs began setting up small businesses around the site. Cafes, transport services, sports shops, even music events. Suddenly, a sleepy neighborhood started turning into a buzzing commercial hub. And here's the thing, when people have jobs, they spend more. They buy food, clothes, bicycles, phones. Money starts moving in the local economy. Economists call this the multiplier effect, and Burkina Faso witnessed it firsthand. More importantly, the project created a psychological shift. For years, many young people felt hopeless, trapped in unemployment. Now, they saw proof that change was possible, that one project could start a chain reaction of opportunities no one saw coming. It wasn't just about jobs anymore, it was about belief in a better future. Human stories, real impact. Let's zoom in on the human side. Abdoulaye, a 24-year-old unemployed mason, found steady work at the site. His wages helped him pay for his sister's school fees. Amina, a widow who sells food, set up a stall near the stadium construction area. Her daily income doubled, helping her support her 3 kids. Issa, a truck driver, got a long-term contract transporting cement. For the first time in years, he could make monthly savings. These are not statistics. These are real lives, transformed by one decision, the bigger dream. So what does this stadium represent in the long run? A hub for African tournaments, football, athletics, and concerts. A source of youth inspiration. Kids dreaming not only of becoming players, but also engineers, managers, and leaders. A message to the world, Burkina Faso is rising. And perhaps most importantly, it shows that leadership is about action. Not just speeches, not just policies, but visible, tangible results that people can experience. Here's the truth. In a country struggling with unemployment, instability, and external pressures, Ibrahim Traore gave his people something priceless: work, dignity, and pride. What started as a stadium project became a movement of 20,000 livelihoods, thousands of families fed, and a nation reminded of its own strength. And maybe, just maybe, this story is a reminder for all of us. Sometimes the simplest solutions, like building something together, can be the most powerful. So the next time someone says a stadium is just for football, tell them this. In Burkina Faso, a stadium gave 20,000 people jobs. This is leadership. This is vision. This is how nations rise. If this story inspired you, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Because stories like these deserve to be heard, and the world needs more conversations about leaders who create real impact.